Okay, cool.
Oh,
And we're back.
All right.
Just laughing at me?
Yeah, because you always bring that voice out. And then it goes away.
I like the wee thing that's common in
Oh no.
especially during that Red Markets campaign.
Oh
It
yeah.
seemed to get more and more brittle as your character lost more and more humanity.
Oh, in Fallen Flag?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a campaign.
Welcome aboard. Putting into Cliffside Harbor was uneventful. The able crew handling the agile little reliable with skill and confidence. That confidence, any confidence actually, seems distinctly lacking, however, in the faces of the 12 new liegemen who report to the ship the next clock. Most seem anxious and a few seem downright frightened at the prospect of their first voyage into the Twilight Frontier. It is, after all, the home of monsters. As the liegemen formally report aboard, how do you reassure them that you are not leading them down to their doom? How do you instill the confidence they need so you can rely on them when those same monsters attack?
Tonio?
I get up on a table and I look at the faces of my comrades and I say, "Fear not, my brethren. There is no monster, no."
Us?
Yes, you.
Do we get our potential cards back after this?
Yeah, enough time has gone by. A clock or so has gone by since your encounter with the Hemoth that your potential card should be up to full.
Sweet. Yeah. Look upon me, my countrymen, and know that no matter how dark it gets down there in the dark, they will never be as dark as the bright faces I see.
Is it true that everything there wants to eat you?
It could be, but it is also true that I stand amongst the bravest men and women in the light.
Their sergeant kind of elbows me and says, "Stand fast, man, stand fast."
Can I assist? Or
Sure, when this collates into a play, absolutely.
Okay.
And if you want to just do it narratively, chime in. If you're helping
Nice.
contribute to this.
it's no, because I want to actually try to use natural leader.
Okay.
And tell them to suck it up, men. This is what you're training for.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is.
We'll do our best.
Your character's like pretty small too, right?
Yeah, but I have like 5 natural leader abilities. Oh my god! So I am a leader. I start using. Yeah. So this is where I was gonna, because I have quiet leadership and natural leadership.
So who wants to be the primary on the play then?
Let's give it you this time.
You, yeah.
I only have 1 card in leadership.
That's all right.
Do you have a good card
Let's
in
do it.
hand? Like, is it a nice? Is it crownable? Guys, you want to use a cash?
I will be using a cash, but it's not crownable.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We can fail. It'll be interesting.
Right now, it's only a 1-card play.
Yeah.
Because these guys, they're not raw recruits, but they haven't been into the Twilight Frontier before, so they're a little anxious.
Yeah. So I want
They're dutiful. They've passed through basic training.
While he's doing his speech, I just want to stand up next to him while he's saying all of this,
Okay.
giving them the "let's go, let's do it," the Bravo speech.
All right.
Just do the Marine Corps drill sergeant. Snap to, you stupid Marines! Get out there! Yeah.
Okay, they try to stay at attention. They look at each other like, "Oh, this is how the ship's going to
Suck it up.
From the most silent person, and you're not afraid.
All of a sudden.
God.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so like I said, it's a 1-card. Oh, and I gotta.
I can't assist.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, I am ready.
So, and the trade cash is used after.
For purposes of interesting drama, you always sort of play it after, but you have to tell me before you play that you're going to use it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to use quietly.
So reveal our cards. You've already beat me, so your cash is already spent. So
So
what
I
do you?
spin one of this.
Yep. Okay, 17. Nice. So now you're making the gap even bigger, and you were going to help.
Oh, yes?
Oh no, you can only help with 2 or 3.
Yeah,
And it has to be something in the right suit. Yes.
I do not have a 2 or a 3.
So narratively, you're up there telling them how great they are and how it's going to be fine.
Yeah, but you're nailing it in.
Yeah.
And they're not responding. They're like, "Oh, you're starting to sweat a little bit.
Yeah.
Why are they?" And he comes up and does his patent thing.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Oh, you know what we didn't do? We forgot to negotiate stakes.
Oh no!
We did.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to make this easy then, because it happened after the fact. I'm just going to tell you, you guys will get a 1-card cash for this crew to step up if it comes down
that's
to
what
it.
I was actually going to negotiate was for leadership cash.
Yeah. So you have a 1-card cash. If you have to ask them to do something that should otherwise frighten them,
Okay.
well, they'll try to do it.
They'll try. That's
We'll
it.
have an
Instead of
advantage on
having
making them.
a challenge cash against you,
Succeed.
you'll get a cash that you can play.
Yeah.
So you'd record that there.
Can just he use that, or can any of the party?
In this case, it's going to be just him because he's the one that put his foot down and said, "Suck it up," right?
Right.
But there could be situations where the cash is available to all of you guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially if it comes from a flashback or something.
Right.
Okay. So that,
Like the cash that we earned in the flashback with the trial, anybody can use it.
Okay. Right.
Rad.
Okay.
To engage the Tonier pumps.
Yeah, I'm just trying to build up caches because I know we're going to need them when the big fight comes.
Well, the thing is, you can only use one each, right?
Yeah.
So you don't leave too many on the table,
Correct. But I just spent my.
but you want to leave the right ones on
Yeah.
the table. Yeah. In-flight training. Your order. Oh, so you've got 12 people to come aboard. The sergeant is a gruff-looking fellow named Heller, and he introduces you to all of them by name. I'm assuming you will probably forget most of them as you smile and
Most
shake
of
their
who?
hands. Yeah.
All I need to remember.
But you will know that there's new Pete and old Pete. The distinction is not by age. It apparently is just who was there first.
Old Pete's my favorite.
There's a fellow named Smiley, and there are 2 Igors.
I like both Igors.
They're both pretty good.
Settle up in
I
between.
nicknamed one
In-flight training. Your orders advise drilling the new recruits in shipboard operations as part of the journey. As green as they are, the Liegemen are likely to be more hindrance than help in any naval crisis or combat situation. Accordingly, any training you care to provide them with associated plays could perhaps mitigate this concern. So here's the deal. You guys have a couple of blocks of sailing to train these guys up. They didn't get as much skymanship training as they should have. As I said, exigencies of the service. They needed to get them to this fortress to help man the place.
Yeah.
They thought, you guys can do some of the training along the way. So you have 4 options. You can pick 2. Each one will have different benefits. You can decide that you want to train them up in ship handling by drilling them in maneuvering. And if you are successful, then you can have a 1-card cash that will help you out in any circumstance where they are responsible for maneuvering the ship. You could train them up in gunnery, which and by basically firing against targets that you fly out on kites. You can train them up to use the ship's cannons, and obviously you can have a 1-card cash should the cannons become relevant at some point later in the session. You could also train them up in boarding actions. So if you think that there is a time that it might be valuable to be able to board another ship in the middle of an assault.
For defending against.
Yeah, I'll let that defend. But you have to conduct a drill that you did at the academy called keel assaults, which is a little bit dangerous, but as knights you find quite challenging and fun.
I like it.
The fourth option is something called air assault deployment, meaning that you want to deploy sort of a fighting force in the middle of an attack or defense or fighting, bringing your ship in and they come off like fighting mad, or you pick them up in the middle of a fight to redeploy them.
That's a good one.
So that's that one really bad.
Basically, ship maneuvers, gunnery, boarding actions, or air assault.
Either 3 or 4.
I vote 4.
We get 2.
You get to pick 2.
Morning action and air assault. I like that.
1 and 4?
1 and 4, because it's like
1 and 4, yeah.
Spread it out.
be able to maneuver.
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Okay.
I think maneuvering is going to be good. That way we can all meet the ship and we can kind of leave it in their fields.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right in the cheese.
But this is giving you a bonus. What do you training them up in?
I wonder why none of you want to use the guns that are on the ship.
Well, I figure
That's my
us
question.
as knights are going to ultimately be more effective than any old
guns.
ship
Then
guns.
guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that my red shirt does last more than 1 round.
Plain and simple. Point and shoot.
Why would we assault something? The fork's perfect.
Just saying, I had this flashback recently. It made me think of that time.
You made it out perfectly fine. I don't know what you're complaining about.
All right, fine. Let's not use the cannons. Whatever. Why do we even bring them?
So what's the decision? They can use them. They just would use them more effectively. So
I vote 1 and 4.
1 and 4.
Yes.
So
I like 1 and 4.
ship handling and air assault.
Narratively speaking, my character would love 1 and 4. In fact, she'd probably suggest the thing where you slam the ship into the middle of them and then we all jump out and surprise them.
That's a kind of assault.
The old Trojan.
So are we
war.
saying 1 and 4? Is that?
Is everyone okay with that?
That'd be my character insistence. I think I'm pliable on this.
Wally, what do you think?
1 and 4 is fine.
I'm good with that. 1 and
Yeah,
4.
1 and 4.
Remember,
I will be outvoted.
So sorry.
Sorry, Wink.
And I will go pet the cannon.
but remember,
Your day will come sometime.
So one of the features of the Q mechanics is that as players, you get to have a lot of input over sort of where the game goes. Not only because you get to choose which card you're playing, which kind of lets you sort of re-roll or like have a range of odds that you wouldn't normally get with just die. But you get to play to your strengths based on your hand, and because you're negotiating stakes, you also get to nudge the narrative.
Yeah.
Right? So in this case, it doesn't really matter which of the 4 you're going to pick mechanically, because you should be, if you pick cannons, then you should make sure that you're using the cannons when you get to the cannons. Whereas if you're going to pick air assault, then you should be using air assault when you get to that.
So we aren't punished for not picking.
Exactly. Unless I'm a dick and only give you the option of shooting cannons, which is always an option.
Well,
I'd like to try and shoot the cannons.
One of the 4 of these is what we will get hit with.
Yes.
One.
I said at least 1.
So here's what we're gonna do.
I'm
We
picturing
need to
that
make
for
we need to make a play for each of these training sessions.
Okay.
So if there's gonna be one for ship handling, we need to negotiate some stakes. So a couple clocks go by where you're running the drills. They're putting the sails up. They're bringing the sails down. They're doing everything from coiling rope to manning the wheel. You've helped them run the windlass to manage the anchor system. You're having them learn all of the little nuanced details about each of the sails on board, because there's a lot of them, and what each of the lines does and how they work. You're actually forcing your sailing crew to tutor these guys to build a little bit of bond between the two separate crews, and you're trying to build them up. So, who wants to be primary on this training?
Yeah, you probably.
Yeah, you're the navigator, dude.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought he's the navigator.
He's got navigator.
Yeah, he has navigator, but you have the
Where you go, there
weird
you are.
pilot ship thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have some couple of you have
you
Skymanship.
two,
Yeah.
He had Skymanship, but he's gone now. So
Yeah. So
we'll assume Bree is there if you need her. But there's enough of us now.
She's quietly building a machine.
Somebody in the gentle side.
Correct. Or fixed. She's
Or
great
fix.
fan.
Yeah. Well, fix is good. Yeah. So I think you should be primary.
Okay.
It's because I can assist with like
Leadership and, like, snap to,
that's-
etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
That type of stuff, and I have. But in this one, this is the navigation of the ship, right?
This is Skymanship.
Okay.
Skymanship.
I'm going to use.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going. Can I use my ability? Read about it in a book once about like skymanship maneuvers,
Yeah, you can
etc.
teach them all the minutiae.
All right.
Of course,
I'm going to teach them all the minutia.
Okay, so let's negotiate some stakes.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm not done yet. I need to assist.
Right. Well, that'll come after we start the play. So let's negotiate the stakes. and then
Okay,
you can
got
decide.
it. Okay.
But you can tell me what you're going to use.
Yeah, I'm going to be using the wind one again, which way the wind blows.
Okay.
Because I'm
Of course.
eddies and everything along
absolutely.
that line.
Helpful to know when piloting a skyship.
Yeah, literally, it's
All right.
What's the mechanism that I can redraw my hand?
You discard. You sacrifice your knight's cash.
Gotcha. I think I'm going to go ahead.
Okay. So stakes. What would you like the outcomes to be?
I would like to be able to know. I would like to know that I can trust the crew with the ship.
Okay. So you can send them off with the ship.
Yes.
And it will.
I won't have to worry about them crashing it.
It'll be defended. It'll fly
Yes.
well. It'll be defended.
Absolutely.
Okay. And let's say that you'll get a 1-card cash to be used in circumstances of skymanship, ship maneuvering, that sort of thing.
Okay. I know I said I wanted to use read about it in a book once. Can I actually change that to?
Sure.
You can't say no to me. In that I will. I'll say even though it's a bad situation, they're so intimidated or they trusted me so much that I can just be like trained.
I'm gonna say
So
that
trained.
you just are relentless.
I'm relentless.
Like,
Exactly.
it's clock after clock after
Yes.
clock, and it's do it again.
Just
do it
again and again and
it's
again.
not right. Do it again.
Yes.
That feels like you can't stop me because they're wishing that you would stop.
Yeah.
Is the potential hand supposed to be the 4 or the 3 or the 6 card? 4. Good, I got it right there.
All right. And okay, so I want to cache this also with research, in that I know all of the maneuvers that ships can make, all of the
That's fair.
Yeah, all of the
Teaching
playbooks.
methods,
I know the
that kind of
playbook.
stuff,
Yeah.
All right.
So
So you get the 1 card cash.
Yes.
In case there's needs for the shipment. If you fail, I'm not going to have a cash against you.
yeah.
But with the relentless in and out on the mast, and the climbing and the rigging, and the exhaustion that sets in, one of the crew falls overboard.
Okay. All right. That's
Now we can maybe make another play to see if you can be saved.
yes.
But that's what will
Could it be
happen.
old Pete? I know.
He's so young.
He's got such a
That's
great
the younger
future.
one. That's what's confusing.
Yeah, exactly.
New Pete is actually old. And,
So old. Yeah.
I think this is probably it will be a 2-card play to really tone them up, but
Yeah.
because the guy's falling overboard, that's a thing that would raising those
it would
stakes will bring it
raise
down
it.
a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's actually against you, right? So the play should be easier for you.
So thanks to this skill, I have a total of 2 cards I can play. But since it's only 1 card at stake, I only play 1 card.
No. I only play 1 card.
Oh, okay, cool.
You always play whatever you want to, up to the total.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
The number I give you is how many the challenge is going to be.
Gotcha. Okay,
How
cool.
difficult I think it is.
Gotcha. I like
And we
that.
can negotiate that too, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, that doesn't sound like a 2.
Yeah.
But it's a 1 card.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
And you were helping?
Yes,
Okay, so you have a 2 or a 3 that you're going to contribute?
correct.
Alright. You guys.
Yeah, we blew it out of the water, and I cashed
you
it.
cashed
so.
You cashed it.
You are
and
a
you also,
taskmaster.
you crowned too.
I mean,
Oh, I did.
there's a classic montage.
Draw another.
Oh yeah, I crowned.
You crowned too, so keep it going.
And it's all in the same
And then
suit.
you got history.
So 10, 20, plus 8, 28, plus 6 is 34.
This is a ridiculously excessive montage of you driving them through their paces, and then it ends with this glorious, like, very tricky slipping maneuver where the ship rises as the bow goes down, sails come in, it drops really fast for about 100 yards, and then turns and moves. And then you're standing on the poop deck, with Bree, and you guys are like,
Nice. We got
Just to
it.
add a little bit narratively, I'm going to be standing behind everybody for this, just glaring with my terrifying visage.
writing stuff down.
Exactly. Just taking surreptitious
I got your
notes.
name. I know.
I know who's good at what. Who's
They're probably more intimidated by the fact that their name might be going in the book.
You stand next to the first mate, taking notes about each other taking
Competitive
notes.
note taking. Faster and faster.
I think I'm going to strike up a bit of a rivalry.
I think
with
she
her.
likes you.
I'm not sure how I feel about her yet.
She is.
And by extension, I'm not sure either. Or am I?
Oh no, I was just gonna
I have
play off what they were
Please.
Feel free.
Yeah, please.
Oh no, I was gonna say, are you gonna take down a note every time she does a little tally mark? You do a tally mark, so she does a tally mark, so you do.
I am taking, I think I'm taking notes on her taking notes as well.
Antonio is in between, like, looking at
It's like the ping pong going back and forth.
I occasionally pass by in the distance. Just kiss already.
You're on opposite sides of the
You
ship.
don't have to yell. No,
He's just progressively riding faster and faster.
So
I can just imagine 10 minutes later, they finally stop, and somebody walked by and goes, just to start it up again.
So the second training you guys want to do is the air assault, right?
Yes, I can do that because my skill is thrust, swing, parry, duck, dodge.
Nice.
So here's how this drill worked at the academy. You can change it however you want. But the ship would come in at speed and try and parallel an island in such a way that the crew could, those that were doing the Marines, could jump off,
Yeah.
charge across the highlands, pulling cannons, carrying their guns, waving swords, maybe engage in drills along the way, fighting people, moving their cannons over obstacles, whatever. But the ship would then drop under the island, come on the other side, and pick them up at the time that they're there.
That's awesome.
And you just do this over and over again until it's like clockwork.
Hit and run,
Right?
hit and run, boys and girls.
So a couple of you are going to have to be the opposing force. So you can be out on the island and you can be using who's the ore user? Bree is an ore user. Is she the only one?
A what user?
Ore user, rock users.
No, it's not me.
Okay, so-
I have wind.
No, I'm Rain.
So I'm going to assume Bree is out there and she's just throwing up like earthworks with all her
Oh, nice.
With my wind stuff.
like a little earthbender style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody there was a lot of inspiration from that.
It's fine.
Yeah, so but if others of you want to be out there doing something else with your potential or with your own skills to kind of interfere.
Student
that could
of the
be
sword.
Part of the narrative. Yeah, fighting a couple of them as they go.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're going to be the main part of this? Okay,
Yeah,
I can't assist. I don't think.
I can teach them. It's like I am clearly the best sword on board, and I teach them. I'm like that way because I cheat. You sweep the land.
Dirty tricks.
Antonio, you're so cool.
They always make you wear these masks in academy to protect your eyes. You go for the eyes. Always the eyes.
Go for the eyes, boo.
Nobody's ready for it. They never see it coming.
That's really funny to say as a competitive collegiate fencer. And because you wear masks, it doesn't count, right? It's not part of the target.
Yeah.
But if you smack the shit out of somebody in the face on purpose, it rocks them back and keeps them honest. They'll actually stay away from you and give you an advantage. So it's a thing.
Are you saber, foil, or epic?
Mostly saber. Sorry. Mostly foil, some saber.
I was all epic.
I don't fight Epee anymore.
I'm saber.
I haven't done it in a while, but it's a good time.
I had a tip break go through my mask and into my leg. I don't do Epee ever again.
All right, so we're going to try one of these drills.
Okay.
You've trained them up in ship handling. The ship beautifully parallels the island, drops in, so the deck is right there. The crew's ready to go. They jump over the side. They're whatever you've asked them to do. Maybe they're dragging a few crates of ammo. Maybe they're going to take a field gun and drag it across the island. Bree is out there throwing bullets through the air and making pits for them to cross and walls for them to go over. You're out there giving them sword drills. Anybody else want to be giving them a hard time?
I think I can assist with this because I think I'm a little bit of a dirty fighter too. I engage in shocking behavior. I run alongside them with my hyperactivity, keeping pace and giving them advice like, you can pick up mud as you run to throw in people's eyes.
It is apparently. It is.
So,
I'll never see it coming.
I'm going to be using leadership and gives us a discipline action. And I've already established myself as the butthead gunny sergeant, so I'm going to keep pushing that.
this is a more dangerous drill. Inherently, weapons being used and jumping the gap between the island and the ship and then back again. So I'm going to say this is a 2-card challenge.
Yeah.
And I have a suggestion for a negative consequence.
Okay.
Since I am being student of the sword, like fighting the people that come on, they go for my eyes.
So one of you may suffer an injury.
Yes.
All right. So for the stakes that you guys want, I'm assuming that we'll go with the bonus cash for if you want to use this maneuver. I don't know why you'd want this maneuver.
I'm going to assist as well, so I'm going to use like I'm late in the dark to assist. Just hide out on the island and try and nick people as they come past.
With that, we could the stakes could be like they expect that from them, so it's like a surprise tactic won't work on them because it's been drilled into them.
That's good. That's good.
Nice.
They get so paranoid.
Check every shadow, check every corner.
Are there any special maneuvers that we can teach them or anything along that line?
I mean, you could teach them the Kobayashi Maru. I mean, whatever you want to teach them is appropriate to the
Is there a way that we
the
can
stakes.
give the NPCs like caches or talents or
Well, that's what you're essentially getting. This cash that allows them to if you use this tactic, then you get a cash. That cash represents the training that's in them. It's not that you get the cash personally, but you've trained them up. And so in that circumstance, if that's an encounter, they get the bonus card to add to your play because they've learned to do it.
Rad. Okay.
Could I add maybe one more stake to this for things we want?
Okay.
Could we train Old Pete to be our assault leader? Old Pete is.
I don't know. He's pretty green.
already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if anything, we would be training the sergeant
To be the assault leader, right?
Cult leader. Yeah.
Okay, so these guys, they've done war games and training, but they're a little reckless, they're a little anxious, they're a little frightened, they're going up against knights.
Yeah.
So my stakes will be that one of you is going to get hurt.
Yes.
One of you will take a serious wound.
Okay.
Someone shoots a gun like, oh shit! Or they get a lucky blow in.
Yeah.
Or you're messing around with somebody and you get hit from behind as an overzealous attack.
Or the earth explodes and you go flying.
And I get a negative cash because the training goes so poorly.
Bad morale.
That they're gun shy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
They're stumbling over themselves. They're dropping things, leaving things behind. They drop a cannon over the side between the ship and the
Oh shit.
right? Like they can't really get this down. In the short time, you have to work with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
All right.
And so everyone looks at their cards.
Yep. 2-card play.
All right.
And if you're gonna play caches,
No, I'm not playing a cash.
Okay.
I do not have a cash.
And I throw into assist,
And I
right?
crown
okay, you crown.
with queens because I'm imparting the wisdom of
Perfect.
how to fight.
And I'm gonna crown the queen because they're learning. Okay, so we both have to put a card out. I got a whopping 2. You got 4. You're already beating me. Okay.
And then here's the assist cards. 2, 2, 2, 6.
I was really hoping to hurt.
I was hoping to get hurt. 3.
I'll show you the mechanics later if no one gets hurt.
So we got +9 just from assists.
Yeah, because I'm curious because I want to see how the healing hands work. So
Sure. Yeah. So you can see why assisting is the low cards, right?
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
used to have that you could play a card from your hand,
And that would just blow it
It
out.
was like,
Yeah.
if you never lose, it's not interesting.
Exactly.
Oh, totally.
yeah, with assisting, if you get it screws with the map. How often do we refresh this for that? Because I'm getting down to small.
Is that
This is my play.
is your potential?
No, my potential is
The play hand always
it's like-
refreshes every time you use it.
Yeah.
The potential hand only as time
we're
passes.
supposed to have 6, right?
Yes.
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh boy.
Well, don't give him any hints.
All right, so the training montage is complete, and you're feeling like you have a little bit more of a crew to work with. All of the effort has bonded the sailors with the soldiers, and you've learned all their names. You feel that
There was another Igor.
Yeah, there was a third. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
there's one among the sailors. So
Yeah. Oh
and
man.
several of them have Igor's a middle name.
Man.
It's a common name in the Kingdom of Vault, and anybody that can is getting the hell out of Vault because of what's going on there.
Oh, I
so
see.
they're joining the liege, as liegemen whenever they can.
I'm once again going to say, no, I don't know their names. It's they're all soldier or sailor. Plain and simple. Except for sergeant and sergeant.
I'm going to obsessively take down all of their names, but never use them.
I will carouse with
Oh, you know exactly who they are. You're just not going to.
Yeah, by extension, I guess that means I know
know
who
about their
exactly they
kids.
are.
You know what their kids' birthdays are.
Yeah.
You
know their anniversary.
You know that you've been giving advice about their wives and husbands.
Yeah.
Relationship advice, Tonio style.
Just talk to them.
Isn't that one of ours? You are perhaps 2 clocks out from Downstone Gulf and have crossed into the twilight frontier. Any pretense of confident nonchalance has gone by the boards for the new liegemen, the reliables crew, and you knights alike. The dim skies, thickening clouds, and dank chill focus the crew, and a vigilant awareness settles over the ship. When the lookout silently signals a possible vessel sighting, it almost comes as a relief, especially when he reports it looks like one of the guilds. Okay, so you've crossed into the twilight frontier. It has gotten mostly dark.
Okay.
You can see from the stern to the bow, and you can see a crewman up there, but they're just a silhouette. It has gotten cold. You've all got like rain slickers on, and these dank squalls blow over the ship occasionally. It's dark enough that you have to sail very slowly because you don't want to crash into islands that just kind of loom out of the dark somewhere.
Yeah.
So you've got lookouts everywhere, but they don't want to shout anything. They need a signal through. They usually have like a little wires that they pull, or little speaking tubes to speak to someone at the helm, and then that guy will come and like, because there are creatures down here that are attracted by sound and light.
Ah.
So you don't put up any deck lights. You try to keep everything quiet. You don't want to attract the attention of the children in the dark because, well, they're dangerous. Let alone the predators that live here. So it's called Running Dark, and it's not just tedious, but it's difficult because everyone has to whisper and everyone has to move quietly and do everything in the hazy dark.
Antonio hates this.
And it begins to weigh on you in a real way that stresses you out and starts to wear on the crew and your own nerves, especially if it goes on for a long period of time. It's also miserable conditions. You're wet and cold, and even when you go below decks to warm up, it's hard to get warm. Everything starts to get slippery and wet and fungusy, and it's unpleasant. Additionally, because the closer you get to the dark, and scholars don't know why yet, but the closer you get to the source of the wind, the more access to potential you have. So mechanically, as you pass into the Twilight Frontier, you all gain a card in your potential hand.
Oh, that's so cool.
Awesome.
So it can go up to 5.
It goes up to 5.
Oh, very nice.
And if you were to go on into the dark, which is particularly dangerous, it would go up to 6.
Oh, quick question. It might divert, but skills, do they go as high as 6 through progression? 'Cause
No,
that's the
they
alphabet.
only go to 3.
They only go to 3 at most?
Yeah, and there's ways to get new ones and to bring those up. Those little pips.
Yeah.
Every time you do something, even if you fail, you just mark a pip.
Okay.
And when you get to 3 times what is there,
Yeah.
you get to go up to the next level, the next number, and edit the phrase.
Okay.
So you don't change it entirely. Like if it's swordsman, it still has to be something with swords.
Yeah.
But you can enhance it or make it bigger or
Like Sword Master.
So student of science would become master of science.
Sure. That's something you can do for sure.
Nice.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And then if you want to add new ones, you can do default skills. So when you do something cold, you draw a card and just play it.
Yeah.
If for every 3 times you do that, even if you're unsuccessful, you can pick something new to add to your character sheet.
Okay, so like cooking, if you cook 3 times sequentially. Okay, cool.
That's always your go-to
Even if it's
example.
I
terrible,
love cooking.
even if it's terrible, you can add.
Oh, I love that.
All right.
You learn through failure.
So the lookout signals down through the little telegraph. Someone comes over and taps you on the shoulder and says,
I will go up, and I will use eyes like a hawk.
Wait, important question. Does your teleport make noise?
It's a teleport, it goes back.
imagine if there is a
The only acceptable
But it's
sound.
not-
The only acceptable is Beth.
but it's not super loud. Maybe it's
I'll whisper. Okay, good.
I will use eyes like a hawk to try and get a better view.
okay. You're staring out into the dim haze. The squall goes past. The lookout insists that they saw something and they're pretty sure it had the lines of a guild ship, but it's gone now. The clouds have closed back in. It started to rain a little bit off to the starboard. When suddenly, off the port comes this huge shadow and the roar of a broadside. Cannons fire, boom, 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 boom. Cannonballs go ripping across the deck.
Yeah.
Men are screaming. Sails and rigging are ripped. The lookout starts shouting. Several arc lamps come up and start shining out into the dark because they need to acquire a target.
Yeah.
And you all look up to see, turning in the spotlight, a guild vessel about the size of your own, and the smoke just roiling out of the cannons that have just fired.
And the broadside is just continuing as it passes.
Well, boom, 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 and then they're presumably reloading.
Right.
Were they shooting at us?
They sure were. Your deck erupts, rail goes bursting. Several people start screaming. You can hear the hull being shattered below you. You're taking fire.
We're taking friendly.
What do you guys want to do?
We're the guild, right?
I don't think so.
Healing, okay?
I want to heal the crew.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the healer satchel as equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
NPC health, whether they get killed or injured, is part of the negotiated stakes.
Yeah.
So whether they get healed is part of the stakes.
Save on
The
me.
only time the healing becomes mechanically relevant is
If
when it's a
one of the
PC.
knights. Yeah, I get that.
So question,
Yeah.
we're-
But I still want to
Yeah, absolutely. That's
That's what I would do.
Wait,
Of course. Yeah, so you run to the first injured guy.
Okay.
His arm has been ripped off. He's bleeding all over the place. You lay on hands.
I throw him over the deck.
Spend a one potential card,
Yeah.
and you can actually begin to regrow his limb.
Yeah, that's what I will do.
So just spend the card at random from your potential hand.
From here?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a signal that we have where it's just like stop firing? We're friendly. It's like
You've got flags flying above and below deck.
Great, so
One
it's
thing to
probably either
remember,
a ruse or...
because these aren't ships that have to go in the water, they've got hatches and gates and portals and cupolas below deck, right? You can open these big hatches and lower ships down. They've got cranes. You've got cupolas. Well, his arms start to grow back. It's like Deadpool. Yeah. Minty little fingers. And it starts to push out from the elbow. And,
Can you feel this? Can you feel this?
his screaming stops, and he's like looking almost with as much horror at like his hand that's growing out from his limb.
oh no.
And he will be very pleased.
This is
He's
worse.
particularly shocked when he looks over and sees his other hand is still laying there on the deck, kind of twitching in the blood.
Can I throw a second so he has a brother?
That would probably cause psychological damage.
That's not my problem.
Off that arm?
Yeah, off the arm.
Probably not. The arm is dead.
Okay, just making sure if I get
So,
fast.
so how do you guys want to respond?
Boarding party.
Boarding party's a good idea.
I also,
Tonio, me, and Wallet.
I draw my silver.
And one of them.
I don't think Zag's gotten a chance to really do anything.
Yeah, Zach is gonna come with.
Wait.
And you're a sniper.
He's got a plan for this.
Oh, you do?
Considering that we're getting broadsided and they're going in for a
and
reload.
shit.
Yeah.
Well, I should what?
Him sniper.
Yes, that's a good idea. Considering that we're getting broadsided, I want to erect a wall of wind between our two ships in order to intercept.
So you're going to use your potential to literally block
as
all
many
incoming
shots as I
fire.
possibly can. Throw up a shimmering, whistling wall of wind.
Excellent.
Can I
Let's say that that's going to be the primary play. You're going to defend the ship. What do you want the outcome to be?
I want
still do this boarding party thing if you want.
the ideal outcome would be to completely block any sort of cannon fire.
So the air will just start to shimmer, and you'll get all the incoming fire.
Catch or
whatever it is.
deflect the incoming
There's
shots.
potential
yes.
coming your way too. There's cannonballs coming your way. Probably sniper fire.
So maybe we set it up so that the wall of wind blocks their second round of attack, and as soon as it's done, as soon
That's
as they
when you
reload,
board.
Yeah.
then we do the board.
Can you put the wind to blow at them so ours become more accurate?
I think it's definitively a wall. I'm not sure if I can quite skew it like
It
that.
might raise the stakes.
It could raise the stakes. If I get it to make our fire more accurate, would that be a way of raising the
So
stakes?
it's
Yeah. I was gonna say it's a two-card play.
Yeah.
Even if you're making your fire more accurate, it's getting to like 2.5, but not quite 3.
So I should only be playing 2 cards.
No, that's me.
Oh, okay.
It's my challenge. You always play what's on your hand. I play 1 to 3.
I think I want to cast this with my ancestral gale.
Okay, sure. What do you want your outcomes to be?
Yeah, ideal outcome: protect the ship from any further damage.
The ship is no more damage, no more injury.
And let's see. I guess the
So
bad
are you
outcome.
supporting a boarding party?
Yes. The bad outcome might be
I think supporting a boarding party is going to push it to 3.
push it to 3.
3
Okay,
cards
that's
on
fine.
my part.
Yeah, that's fine.
What do you want the
maybe
boarding party to
capture
do?
one of
You want them to capture the ship?
Capturing the ship would be ideal.
Take it back. That's our ship. Stole it.
Presumably.
Yes.
Well,
Negative outcome for a wall
Like
of wind.
they stabbed us in the back. Do you want to show them what a
it
real
blows
knife
the
in the
wrong
dark
way.
looks like?
Yeah, I think the negative outcome might be it's reversed. Our fire becomes more inaccurate. Their fire almost.
Yeah, I mean, we can have the wall, because potential is a tricky thing, right? You spend a very long time learning to handle it. Sometimes you lose control of it.
Yeah.
We could say it backfires. It sends your ship literally flying away.
Sure.
Your aim is that your guns go off and shoot up into the empty sky.
Yeah.
And that ship, leaving that ship free to act with is sort of impunity, really. I'm going to say, in fact, I'm going to say it gets away. It disappears into, I'm going to say it gets away, it disappears into the clouds.
Okay.
well, yeah, 'cause that's what it would want to do.
I'd like to assist with this. I'm gonna say that I was like,
I don't.
Yeah, that's a separate thing. You can assist
yeah,
if you want.
I'd like to assist with this. Zig has been wrapped around the mast partially, scouting out like this, and the second this happened, she had the immediate reaction, sending a spike of adrenaline to you. You hear just basically Zag do the thing. So I'm gonna use telepathic twin and
So you're helping target.
basically, like, I wanna give them the
Target and time. Yeah.
boom.
Cool.
I will. We played it with six, right?
Are you helping?
Yes, I
Are
am.
we playing right now? Or?
I think we're still figuring out assists and stuff.
So he's primary. Everybody else can only play 2s or 3s.
2 to 3.
Yeah, you got it.
I'd like to see how he only knows how to defend with it, and I actually also have potential with wind. And I am a student of magic.
Okay.
I would like to tell him how to direct the angle to do what he wants.
Okay, sure, you can help.
That's perfect.
Let's talk him through the mental exercises of channeling the power.
So everybody else is confused, and I start telling him what angle to start putting stuff at using some 4-dimensional rules.
Okay. I'm going to use an opposition cache.
Okay.
So I get an opposition card.
Right.
Ready to go? Yep.
So
Wait, wrong card.
Wow.
Okay, I cashed as well, and I also crowned for tactics.
Yes.
So that's for the cash. That's for the crown. Ooh,
Okay.
not perfect.
It's still, we have a lot of assists.
Yeah.
I've got ace, which always crowns. So I'm going to do that. And I'm cashing from the opposition cache. So I've got 30, 41.
I have 29 here.
What assistance did you guys provide?
I use hard to hit to maneuver
I
the
should have
boarding
used
party
better
in.
cards,
Like,
So is that enough assistance to get you anywhere near?
I don't think so.
so we got 5 from this side.
So another broadside, boom, 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 boom. More streams. Your ship goes listing off as sails are rent in this kind of out of control. Basically, what happens is you're testing the wall of wind, and a cannonball whips past your head, breaks your concentration. You have to duck out of the way, and you lose control of the ship, control of the magic, and it blasts you guys away.
Do I cash and crown from my play deck? Do I cash and crown from my play deck? Or no? Just checking.
Wait, I'm on the ship. I'm on the enemy ship.
You jumped across?
Yeah, we're on the boarding party.
Well,
Oh, well, no, we were waiting for the wall of wind to start. It's just kind of
Part of the stakes was successful boarding.
Yeah.
The other stakes was Alright.
Sorry.
Thank God.
So yeah, it would have been cool if you were. But
Wait a second. Can we use because this might actually push it over? Could we have used a cache from Training Our Crew for this? Maneuvering the ship. Okay.
Interesting.
Should have done that.
now the place happens. Caches have to come before.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious.
But
Like,
you can only use a single cache in a single play.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I've got a question. For the NPCs, does the cash come from whoever calls it or from your deck?
When I say it's opposition cache,
No, whenever we're like, oh, we want to cash the NPC
from
thing.
whoever the primary is.
Okay,
Just off the top of
gotcha.
the head.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay, so we just got blown away. So is that...
So suddenly, all you hear is the groans of the injured, the creak of a damaged ship, and the wind blowing past the tattered sails, and there's nothing. The lookouts are back on duty.
Oh, boy.
Like, the ship is gone. It disappeared into the closing squall, and that's it.
I look up.
It's not there.
I go over to the railing, look down.
Nope.
Nothing.
There's a lookout in a crow's nest. There's masts below the bottom too. He's like,
That would
All right.
be a really sucky job.
Well, at least we disengaged, I guess.
here sucks.
Not so good.
Ooh.
So, okay. Do we at least know our heading? Do we know where we are? Do we know...
Well, you have a spherometer.
Okay.
And the way navigation works in a world that doesn't have a magnetic field.
Or stars?
Or stars. Is that you use what's called a spherometer. And the guild has lodestones that are magically, war users have basically created magical magnets.
Okay.
And they machine compass needles from each of those magnets, and the magnets are all a little bit different. And so important locations will have a lodestone, and then they distribute needles amongst the fleet.
Okay.
And so you've got a little case of all these needles to locations, and like, okay, we want to go to a new location, we take that needle out, put it in, and follow the needle. Trouble is, they only work about 100 leagues out.
Okay.
So you have to kind of leapfrog from known location to known.
Yeah, a little bit of a piece of thing.
And when you're exploring uncharted sky, when you get to the edge of navigation range, you got to put some guys in a boat, give them a lodestone, and then you keep sailing. And those guys They still just or something just as a waypoint for you.
Yeah.
So that's a sucky job.
That is a sucky job.
That's terrifying.
So first things first, we should probably get the ship up and running and not.
Yeah. Well, I say we get the ship up and running, cut our losses, and head straight to the fort.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Bree will lead the repair parties because that's her shtick. She is
Okay.
quite the mechanic.
You have.
I have cogs, wires,
you
and
doing
gizmos.
first aid and stuff.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
guys are
I
you can do both
can't-
magic
I can't
and
roll
mundane.
it.
Yeah.
So if you do a lot, you save lives.
Yeah.
Let's see, in this whole battle, we're gonna do. So let's talk about the interview mechanic, just so that you guys know how it works. But we're gonna apply it a little unorthodox. So whenever you do an injury, the way it works is you negotiate as part of the stake. You'll take a minor, serious, or mortal wound. And if you take a minor wound, we draw a card from the top of my deck, and you draw it from the top of your deck, and you divide it by 3. Okay. And that's how many cards you lose from your play hand to represent your injury. Because now you're like, you're messed up a little
And
bit.
that's your new total that you can draw. Is that right?
Right, because now you're not as able because you are hurt.
I see.
That's
I
an
volunteer
intuitive
injury.
health bar.
If you take a serious wound, you draw a card and divide it by 2, right? So you could lose potentially all but one of your cards. So you're laying there moaning.
Yeah.
If you take a mortal wound, you just draw a card, and that's how many you take. And if your hand drops below 0, you're dead.
Oh my god.
Okay.
But we negotiate that in advance, right?
Yeah.
So if I say, oh, that's a mortal wound, you're like, oh, no, I don't want all those stakes. I'll just do this, right?
Yeah.
But if it's super dramatic and your character wants to go out in a bang, like, we're going to do that.
Oh, I love that.
So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a card and we're going to say it's a serious wound, and that's how many crewmen died despite your efforts to save them. Maybe they got blown over the side, maybe they got cut in half and were dead before you got to them, but that's how we're going to decide how many men die, okay? So we'll consider it a serious wound, which is a card divided by 2. Alright, so essentially 2 people died.
Not new Pete and old Pete.
Well, let's find out. We'll do a luck draw for new Pete. Oh, draw a card. Oh,
Is that a tie?
do it again. Oh, new Pete. He was one of them. Okay, old
He
Pete.
was a day away from
Okay.
retirement.
Old Pete, old Pete. This is the important one.
Oh, there are no Pete's left.
At least we have an abundance of Igors.
But for how long?
I don't know.
With the way this crew goes, 1, maybe 2 more sailings.
That sounds like a
tier.
strange book title.
It's the name of my band, actually.
An abundance of Igors. Like it's a measurement. It's like you need 2 Igors.
What do you call it in Igors?
Recipe.
An
It's one
abundance of
pancakes.
New nautical term.
See, now I gotta write an adventure with that.
So, as you approach a lodestone, the needle begins to behave. It pips. There's different terms for it, like pipping or tensing. It behaves in such a way that an experienced navigator knows, oh, we're within 10 leagues, we're within a league. And the needle is telling you that you are approaching the island.
Okay.
You can't see it yet, but any moment you expect it to loom out of the darkness.
Right.
Can I, just so we don't like crash into it or anything, or we know what we're approaching, or if we're being tailed, can I use Heard It on the Wind to try and gauge our surroundings? See if there's the creak and groan of ships.
That's
the
one of your
murmur of
supernatural
crews.
abilities, right?
Yes.
So randomly play a potential card.
Oh, randomly. Okay.
We'll do this narratively.
All right.
Okay. It doesn't matter what the value is.
Oh, just discard it?
Just discard
Oh,
it.
cool.
It only matters in terms of value to you for your next potential play.
Yes.
So you hear voices, but it takes you a while to realize that the reason you don't understand the words is because you don't understand the language.
That.
Now, the children of the inhabitants of the kingdoms of the light, the kin, you guys, many different races and nationalities and different dialects, but you can mostly be understood.
Okay.
Mostly.
Just like accents amongst
Heavy
races,
with word
maybe
usage
British,
and stuff. It's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
But you can pigeon your way through things.
Right.
This you don't understand. You
Okay.
don't recognize it at all. But there's clearly nearby, in a couple of directions,
A couple directions.
Conversations going and orders being given in a language you don't understand.
I immediately whisper that to the rest of the crew.
Okay.
I ready the crew for counterboarding action.
Okay.
Who has the big flashbang?
Tonio.
It's Tony. Yeah.
The Tonio
This may be
toss.
a good time to do
Alright,
it.
yeah. I climb up to the top crow's nest.
Yeah.
There are vertical masts because they have guy lines that go out to the wind like
yeah.
that, so there's lookouts and stuff you can climb.
Is there like a concentration of the voices in a specific direction?
You think the closer and more abundant are the direction you were headed. In fact,
with
the
the
direction
direction
I
of
can.
the scope.
Okay, I relay that to Tonio.
Okay, I
Yeah.
move in that direction.
well, they're beyond the ship. I mean,
Yeah,
when you move in that direction.
Yeah, I move on that direction on this ship.
Oh, well, I mean, they're beyond that. Like, you get to the bow of the ship, and he's like, no, they're out. The voices are out there somewhere.
We're prepping for an attack.
You're magically hearing it on the wind. It's.
I think I'm gonna pop up. Yeah, you had a very good suggestion. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pop up right next to Tonio and use his shoulder to level my scope and take a look through it. Which
All right, you see the islands.
Also, it's like we Mad Max it.
Yeah, we're like,
You got this weird scope, and it's got all these little colored lenses,
Yeah.
and dials and wheels, and you're like turning it in and tuning it up. And
also,
suddenly,
thanks, Tonio.
suddenly the image resolves in this kind of weird kaleidoscopic magical colors, and you see the island. You see the fort. It's a blocky, keep, rectangular, squat, maybe 4 or 5 stories.
Yeah.
There's an empty harbor, an empty quay, a few outbuildings. The fort does not have anybody on guard. There's no lights coming out of the windows. Nobody on the grounds around it. Like the whole thing looks oddly abandoned, or at least inactive.
I call bullshit.
Can we go to the back side of the island?
Absolutely, you go under it, over it,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do.
Can we do one of the funky maneuvers where we drop everybody off and the ship keeps going?
Absolutely.
And we come in overland because they're expecting us to come in from the
So, well, I'm absolutely hearing the voices from the island.
Yes.
Yes. And these are the voices I don't understand.
But it looks empty, I say.
It's
hearing the voices.
if it's our
And they come
guys.
and go, like the wind is fickle, the wind is the wind, so you hear them and then they fade, and you hear them and then they fade.
If it's our guys, we're doing a surprise inspection. If it's not our guys, we're doing a surprise beheading.
It doesn't seem like it's our guy.
It's probably not our guy.
It's probably not our guys.
But do we want to go in guns blazing, or do we want to just sneak in?
After the last time they shot our face off, I'm going with yes.
We lost all
We
the
lost
new
the Pete.
No, the Pete's.
We lost the Pete.
For Pete's sake.
Yeah, for Pete's sake.
For Pete's sake.
You get a humor cache that you can use anytime in the subsequent plays just because that was awesome.
I really say we should go in guns blazing.
All right, guns
Yes.
blazing it is.
Yeah, he has the scope. If it's our guys there, he's gonna see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
swear the island looked empty, though. I continue to insist, waving the sniper around a little bit.
Just keep your eye trained on the island.
Tonio, hold still. Slam.
Yeah, it's because I think we should come to the back side of the island, stay outside of their view, because we're just hitting the edge. I say bear off, come in the back way. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I attempt to use my scholar's tome to find the like the blueprints of this place?
It's probably in a book somewhere.
Yeah, probably in a book
If they're in
somewhere.
a book, they'd be in like a rollout folio.
Did those count in the book?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Did somebody talk about the maybe perhaps
Trading
a
records.
previous inspection mentioned faults in the fortress?
You can do that.
Okay. Draw a face card. It's a
Hey,
queen.
Yeah, there you go. So it's not uncommon for any kind of highlands
Okay.
to have an understructure, the undertown. Things on the bottom side
Okay. It's
that
like
were
the savings
they've
quarter.
they've excavated down, and,
Yeah.
and there are buildings or reverse towers because space is at a premium.
Yes.
But you also, especially in a military situation, want to be able to see what's below you, right? This fortress has a watchtower hanging under the island, and there is access from that watchtower into the fortress. Now,
Okay.
it's defensible, and there's supposedly a big iron door, big metal door that holds it shut. But
It's okay, we have a brain.
It's much less formidable than trying a frontal assault.
I also have Dark Under's Clockwork Sword, which can cut through anything.
Holy shit! Really?
That's my favorite relic.
So yeah, I
pull it out.
say.
Anybody ever read The Scar?
The scar?
Scar.
By China Mieville.
Yeah. Remember the sword that guy had to like crank up his stick?
You showed me that section.
That's a very thin ripoff. Yeah, it's not even thin. It's
That is one of my favorite weapons.
Legally,
from
you
that
change
whole
40%, so you can't be sued.
I just changed the name.
Yeah, that's 40%.
There you go.
Awesome. I had to train one. What was it? I had to train once as a swordsman, and I had to train once again poorly.
So, you can cut through the door. It's very loud though. That sword screeches like a chainsaw on steel. So you're not going to do it with stealth.
Well, we could have a two-pronged attack. We could have
Yes.
our strike team going in through the bottom, and then have our boarding party go through the top.
I
And,
like it.
Like a crab's pincers, we'll crush
I
this
would
clam.
rather see if we could have our mechanic remove the door off the hinges.
Or wink, blink through. Can you blink the things you can't see? If you have like an approximation of distance.
Well, you have the.
Remember, mechanically, you can do anything
True.
that you think's 3 cards will
But you
let him
might
do.
get your arm stuck in the door.
Yeah, that could be a consequence.
I can regrow it.
I say we have you cut through the front door. You blink through the back door.
I think I would like to go with Wink since my character is pretty stealthy.
And I don't think you should cut through any door. I think we should have our boarding party.
So
team.
let's simplify this. I'm hearing no frontal assault.
Correct.
And at least 1, if not 2, sneaky approaches.
Yeah, two pitcher approach.
Okay, who's coming? You're gonna do a dust off like you were drilling? Who's gonna be doing that?
Me.
You and other knights?
I'll
you?
go.
Antonio?
We need you to go through the tower.
Oh, okay.
Who's our best swordsman?
Me, Antonio.
Yeah. So you two do not get to go together.
Okay, fair,
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. So.
You would just let me use the cannons. Fine. That's what this is all about.
If you want to stay on the ship and circle and shoot with the cannons
I can do
to
that.
give us a distraction, you can do that.
You can use your precious cannons.
Yeah, you can use your cannons. I know you're on first name basis and all. It would be a perfect time for it. But literally have the dust off where we drop people off and go across land. 2 or 3 of us come up from beneath. Hopefully, we can catch the commander or whatever before they have a chance.
Zag and Wallet should be together. They're stealthy, right? You're both stealthy.
And I'm this foot tall.
You're stealthy.
Sure. Yeah.
And
I'm this
The
foot tall.
ultimate stealth is right here.
Yeah, blink. Yeah. But he wants the cannons.
I mean, you want me? Here's the thing.
There are cannons on the roof. There's the battlements on top have a whole battery of cannons.
Oh, that
We need you. We need you to get through the door on the bottom because you can blink to the other side of it, open up the door, and let us through if it's locked.
And then you can blink up to the cannons. You can blink anywhere you want.
Yeah, fine.
If you get me in
Or
through
you
that
can blink
bottom
back
door.
You can be with all of them. It really is what amounts to.
Yeah, you can be with all of us. You can blink back to the ship, and that way there you can play with your named cannon.
Okay, so I'm feeling a play coming on.
Yeah.
Let's break it into 2. Let's see if we can make this complicated. More complicated. In a good way. Let's say do it as a collective play. And the consequences of this play are what? We can make it big. I mean, we can make this the climactic play. You guys get in and do it so stealthily that you take all of the any potential opposition by surprise, subdue them before they can react, and you've secured. Or we can just make it. You just get in.
I want it climactic.
I want to take it.
Okay.
I want it.
And for our loss,
This belongs to us.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll be if you're gonna take the fort in one play, there's gonna be some juicy negative consequences.
Oh, we can. Since we're separating, we can get stuff.
The outcomes you guys want are take the fort.
Yes.
What are you willing to sacrifice?
The ship.
Your ship?
Our ship.
I like that.
Now, that is the way home.
Yes.
That is your only means of communication with the guild. Okay?
Yeah.
They'll come for us eventually.
Probably.
I should hope
This is a one shot, but it may leave you with like wondering what happens next
Exactly.
Gen Con, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're willing to sacrifice the ship. What about all the people on the ship? Because the sailors are going to stay on.
All Igor's on the table.
All Eagles on the table.
All Igor's on the table.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Ship and crew.
Yes.
I'm also thinking maybe a grievous wound for at least one of us.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, I
so
take it.
I'll take it. That's teleporting in.
Yeah.
Let's have
Well,
two
let's do
grievous
this.
wounds.
Will it be one person per invasion?
we'll do luck draws, and if you fail, you take serious wounds.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing negative consequences now. We skipped over the positive ones. Let's do the positive ones first, so I keep it straight in my head.
Okay.
You take the fort. Take we were in the middle. You take the fort. You do it silently. You subdue opposition.
Capture their leader.
Tattoos.
Capturing their
You'll
leaders.
get new blazes of rank.
Yes.
See, these are the kinds of long-term consequences. So you will become. You'll be known as the heroes of Downstone Gulf. We forgot to give you guys your nickname. You earned that.
Right.
We'll retcon it in. It's fine.
Exactly. Well, we'll get
This
to
will
say
be
our name
later
when we
on.
capture the
No,
fort.
this will be like previous nickname, also known as Heroes of Downstone Gulf.
Well, no, we'll have one of those honor ribbons the 40K Knights have.
Absolutely. As part of the game, you design a pennant for your boat crew. And you add to it as you get more stuff.
really cool.
Yeah, you gotta have those
So that
honor
artistic guy in your table group
Draws it,
draw
yeah,
your
yeah.
thing, right?
We have one. Yes.
So,
we have
take
artists.
it, you subdue without too much bloodshed. Do you want to do it without any losses?
Preferably, yes.
No loss of Igors.
No, you get all your Igors when you're done.
All of our Igors.
You get a reputation added to your reputation, and you get a blaze of rank.
And he
Yeah.
gets to save the princess.
What princess? There's a princess?
There is now. Immediately
Clee has had a crush on you. Right? She's written all about it in her book.
Yeah.
Nobody knows but her. But if you're successful, you'll find out about it.
I might notice,
Run
but
up
I'm
and
not
grab
telling
you.
I told them.
I can use mind reading and tell him all.
If
Yeah,
you
no.
fail-
I got the telepathy from him and told everyone.
If you fail, you guys do not take the fort.
Yeah.
We'll go around the table, and everyone will potentially take a serious wound.
We become captured.
You will become captured,
Lose the ship.
and the ship will be taken.
Yes.
Yeah. The
And
ship will become captured.
and you will
we
be
become
taken
captured.
into the dark
Yeah.
with one of these ominous cliffhangers for
Gencon
sometime in
next
the
year.
future that we might or might not play again.
Yeah.
Can I add one more stake? That we each get a heroic moment. I want all of us to have a moment.
And you
in
each
this.
get to describe it as we go around the table.
Okay.
If you win,
that.
you'll
I like
finish
it.
that.
I like it.
Okay.
And it'll have to be described in how you contribute to the play. Because remember how the collective
Yes.
plays work. You each have to say how you're going to achieve this goal.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll start here. We'll go around the table. You tell us what you want to do and what you're going to use to do it. And then we'll just proceed.
Okay, I'm gonna use teleporter.
Thing that
I'm gonna primary.
If you could get me in as well, that would be perfect.
Anyone who wants to come along holds on.
I'm going through the front, right?
I think so.
Yeah, boarding party.
Sound goes away.
Nice
Yeah.
cash
I'm
also,
focusing,
quietly.
Focusing, 'cause I don't know where
I'm using
going.
my Nets cash.
Open my eyes. We are in.
Yeah,
We are
no,
by the
absolutely.
door.
So you're teleporting them exactly where they need to be to achieve what they're trying to do.
I'm dropping off everybody. I'm the last person. I'm in front of the door. I look around. Hit the thing. Doors pop open.
Perfect. So your
Nice.
play will be powered with your potential cards. Yes. Okay?
So if we're going based off wind to air bending, except for with a very nasty streak.
Okay.
So the part that if we had a separate flashback, everybody would
No,
remember,
really?
or everybody would remember at one
could use
time
my
where I did
protection.
something that was just a little too dark.
So there'll be rooms where the opposition, which if you haven't guessed yet, it's Children of the Dark.
Yes.
Will be splattered against the wall. Like you walk in these rooms and it'll just be like gore
Mess.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So everybody will vaguely remember this as I kick off doing my wind walk, land on, and instead they're all like, "Hey, we're doing this pincher move," and I just walk right to the front door as the frontal
And you
assault
hear
by
just your ears
myself.
pop as
One man front of the
the
assault.
barometric
Yeah.
pressure in the fortress changes because of the fortune.
And,
Nice.
I use. I decided that using that wall thing, you obviously don't understand it, so I use my arcane minutia to explain to you that if you want to rend people completely.
So
this
are
is
you
how you
helping
do
or
it.
are you doing
No,
your own play?
I'm just explaining to him as I walk away,
Okay.
as I go off to go do my.
And that's to justify use of your
Yeah.
cash?
Yeah.
Nicely done. Okay. Don't forget, you guys have a cache for the crew that can contribute.
Who's using the cash?
I'm using the cash for the boarding crew.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have the boarding crew.
So are we doing this as multiple actions? Because
Well, it's not multiple actions, it's the collective play. So whoever does the best is leading your crew, and it'll be against my single play.
I would say that we do it.
I have a question. Student of science?
Yeah?
Student of military science?
No, not really. I don't think that applies.
Okay.
If it was maybe building siege engines, yeah.
Well, that's what I want to kind of get.
Or like
Not
undermining
siege.
foundations, or
Yes, because
I
I'm
think
coming
I'm-
up
I
to the
think I'm gonna
tower,
blow
so I need to know
potential.
I'll let you do physics or engineering.
Yeah.
Do you not have anything for like a bullet?
Okay, so what are you doing? You're
No, my bullets are
Yeah, so I'm
I
with the
actually
crew,
mulligan my bullets
the ship goes up in like Normandy or like right on the railing.
What about tyrants?
And I turn to them and I say,
I think I've
remember,
got shocking
men,
behavior.
no matter how dark it gets, there's always the light. And I
Yeah, like-
jump in, I use fast as lightning, and I blaze outwards to
I think
like
I've got good for
flashbang
shocking.
everybody.
Okay. So
And
you go whipping out, and not only do you just disappear, but there's this like
Okay.
yeah.
big flash of light
That's
just comes
good, yeah.
streaking out of the windows of the fortress.
Yeah. And I will use fast as lightning. And
Okay, hey, whoa. We're not ready for the fight yet.
We're describing all of our actions.
Okay.
Okay, thanks to Wink, I will come into the bottom as the sneaky attack party.
Okay.
And I'm going to be using wind powered. We're closer to the source of the wind. I'm feeling more energized, more into more alacritic?
Yeah.
Whatever that word is. That's a word. Yes. And I'm going to just whip out my sword. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, but sometimes the sword can be a pen. I'm going to write an epic with the blood of my enemies.
Nicely done. So what skill are you actually using?
Wind powered.
Wind power. Okay.
Yes. Potential.
All right, nice.
Yes.
Okay. What are you doing?
I am going to accompany Wink through the bottom door. Going to try and creep into the fortress. I'm going to be using Deathly Quiet to evade detection, move into the bowels of the fort, and find the leader. Get a blade
Okay.
master.
So you're gonna go after the officers.
Yes.
Okay. I used my knight's cash at the beginning of this to reroll my hand and got even worse results. So instead, I am going to, instead of doing the other thing, I'm going to cling to the ship and.
You could help if you want to help somebody. You don't have to do your own play.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna on the ship, cling to the mast, probably with my legs. I'm tall, lanky, very energetic. I scrambled all the way up here.
There's a crow's nest too.
Yeah, I think I'm like partially holding my way out there, trying to aim up the most absurd shot. I'm going to
It's like
use
a Cirque du Soleil move. Where you got one toe around the mast.
her tongue sticking out the side of her mouth. She's very carefully aiming this. I'm going to pop my ancestral spark cash, charge my use my shocking behavior, channel all the power into my gun, and use it like a railgun to blow up the first opposition I see.
Okay.
Do you think I could use my adaptability cache for creeping through the fortress, or does that not quite fall out?
I think it depends. Maybe if you were going to try and impersonate an enemy, but I'm not sure how adaptability to creeping around.
Yeah, I don't think that would work. I'm mostly trying to kill officers and.
Have you used your knight's cash already?
I have used my knight's cache.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just won't count
Okay.
anything. That's fine.
I'm going to use student science
Okay.
for the structural, the stuff like we talked about. And I'm also going to use my personal survival cache because I really want to come out of this.
Sure. Absolutely.
I've proven that I'm a good
And how
leader.
are you applying the structural stuff? Is this to like find your way architecturally, or
Yeah, it's to help all of these sneaking guys know how to sneak around where this wall is thicker to hide
Okay.
sounds,
I'll buy that.
type of stuff.
All right, fair enough. So, do you feel that that's a sufficient description of each of your heroic moments?
Yes.
Okay. So here's how it's going to work. Remember, the camera will follow whoever wins, and even though everyone is contributing, if you beat me, you contribute really, really well. If you don't, then your tactic didn't really play out the way you wanted it to.
Yes.
But if you win, then that's sort of the linchpin to the plan.
Do we just need one winner?
Personal honor, because I feel like I need to prove to them after all of
There you go. That's fair. I think you want to
After you failed
let
that.
you want to let them know that you're a reliable part of the team. right?
Also, my cash scale, just wind power.
Yeah, if you haven't used a cache in the climactic play,
Do it.
describe it as a climactic
My cache is
play,
the crew.
it's time to use
Yeah.
it, right? So I will be doing the same thing. I will say you guys really lucked out. Shit hand.
Dude,
Oh, wait a minute.
Dude, just one of us need to win is the
You know
question.
what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to spend one of my. I have to spend a whole category of caches.
Oh.
Boom. And then
And redraw.
I can redraw. Oh, you know what? I deleted that rule recently.
Oh no.
Because I felt like
We won't tell anybody.
I wanted to give that as a player-only Benny. So
Okay.
I'm stuck with what I got in my hand.
Dang.
Oh, those are the best 3 cards you got.
I will. Let's hope my cache is something good, like a Joker.
Under my breath, while I'm murdering them, it's like, you gave it your best, come on.
Also, if you haven't played your Joker yet, this is
It's in there.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
in there.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere. I was really hoping for it with that Knight's Cache, honestly.
all right. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
Boom.
I've got 20
So
and
first I cash and then I crown, right?
24.
Boom.
Okay. Cash.
32, I have.
So,
Crown. Ooh.
this is
29.
my cash, so this is my personal survival.
All right.
This is cash. I am in combat.
So what card did you play?
These are the 3 I played.
So not cash, it's crowned.
Crown. Sorry, it's crowned, and that flips another card,
Yep.
right?
Oh, whoa, I flip.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
All right,
do I
so you
flip
got-
another card if I cash into a crown?
30.
No,
I don't think so.
You cannot crown cash cards.
Okay.
And you can only crown cards that you play immediately. Right?
Okay,
so the
gotcha.
cash
So,
card,
so you can only have like 5 cards. So most of them are 4 cards.
In theory.
the most cards you could play would be your 5 cards plus whatever help you get.
Okay, yeah, so I maxed out that. Okay.
So 30, 42.
I got 43.
Okay.
43.
Wait, hold on. I've got for shooting, crown shooting, my artifact.
Okay.
I got this crown, king and ace.
So only one crown.
Only one crown. Okay, so there.
So whatever, and the crown had to be out of your hand that you played originally.
The crown, it was out of my potential hand.
That's fine.
Okay.
But you laid down which cards originally?
This was my original 3.
Okay, so it's your shooting, which would be covered by the king, but you can also crown with an ace because you can always crown with an ace.
Okay.
So you get 1 crown for that, and then if
Yes.
you've got a cash,
And then I use the
Okay,
cash.
there you go.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I played these 3 and crowned into a 6.
okay. So 43 is still the highest.
You beat me by 1.
38, 43,
42.
242. Oh, he played a Joker.
What?
It's all
Nice.
Usually, all you need to play is the Joker,
And
then
but
you're
you
done.
don't want to be holding one card up going.
Yeah.
Then I might play a Joker to defend against, right?
gotcha.
So you hide it like that in all your other cards.
That's awesome.
Because what happens is when you play the Joker,
Yeah, I'm
everybody
curious.
has to discard
cards down are you?
and reshuffle and
mine was
draw their
4.
play hand.
Okay.
Let's see what you
Okay.
got.
So that's an important rule. When someone plays a Joker, everybody at the table discards their play hands, shuffles their play deck, and redraws. It's a way to make it so that you're not going to be sitting on your best cards for the whole game until the end.
Interesting.
Because you want to spend some of them before someone plays a Joker. Okay? But that's probably going to be the last play of the game.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about too much. So it is not a bloodbath, but there's what amounts to almost murder.
There's blood.
It's
There
almost
is
murder.
blood.
The door opens, they look up, they grab weapons, and it's like,
New coat of paint.
yeah.
What do they look like,
There's
by
some
the way?
knives in the dark. There's a couple of guys that are shot. You see an officer come up on the top of the battlement with all the cannons,
Yeah.
and the gun crews are going to place. And if this was a movie, you'd sight in on the
Right.
officer, and then you'd realize that's a powder keg behind it. And then, you would shift and go boom, and the whole top is just a big fireworks.
Real gun. Telepathically
You guys
to
feel the
Go
walls
on.
shake as that goes off. You manage to sneak them up into critical places and take officers' can. So you guys get your first, as relatively new knights. You've been at it for a while, but you've never actually encountered a child of the dark.
Yeah.
The easy description is the Gem of the Dark. If you've watched Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
No. They are pale, tall, gaunt. They've got armor that looks like it's either modeled after or made out of the hides of wild animals, but it's got metal spikes and it looks like carapace, and they're carrying wicked-looking weapons, and they have more diverse potential. because they have all the kinds of potential, but mechanically they're not as powerful because they have all the kinds of potential.
Yeah.
They don't have a separate hand. They draw all their cards in,
so-
so they don't necessarily have as many of the same suit.
Interesting.
Right? And there's a whole backstory reason for this.
Okay.
So they are versatile and dangerous and really savage in a fight. But you guys caught them totally off guard. You
Nice.
slaughtered me in terms of gap here, so you shut it down with. You didn't need the bloodshed, but it puts
But it
period at the end of the
happened.
sentence, right?
And the Igors are safe.
And all the Eagles.
The abundance of Igors are fine.
Thank goodness.
So when it's all said and done, you turn over a significantly large haul of child prisoners to Guild Intelligence.
When you say child prisoners, that sounds pretty bad.
Child with a capital C. Children of the Dark.
Yeah, I got that too.
Children of the Dark.
Thank you.
There's several names for them amongst the kingdoms of the light, but that's sort of the
major one.
The one that causes the most nightmare amongst
Right.
actual children when their parents are telling them to behave.
Yes.
And eventually, upon your relief from the fort, you make it back to headquarters. You are awarded your next Blaze's rank. And the way this would work in a campaign is you would write. I would give you a title like, Downstone Liberation of Downstone Gulf, and you would write it.
Saviors of Downstone.
Saviors of Downstone.
Yeah.
You would write it. You would write it here, and that would be sort of an ongoing record of the major missions of your characters. If this was campaign play.
Nice.
Excellent. Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Next to the potential and play, put like 4 and a 7.
Hand size.
Hand size.
It changes a lot depending upon whether you're wounded and stuff, but that's a good idea.
It's
Maybe put like base
Standard. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
It's because I had to do that in my character sheet, so they know how many points they get.
These are mock-ups. These aren't even final characters. And actually, these things here are from the RPPR playtest they did. Someone said, "Oh yeah, you should put some map around the outside doors of the decks." I'm like, done.
I like
All
that.
right, so that's the game. Thank you for playing.
Thank you for running that. That was great.
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like the system.
I did.
I hope we can count on you when the Kickstarter goes up.
Yes.
You can.
I'd love to turn you guys into minions if you're willing.
Minions?
I've got a bunch of these, and if we can do like the old chain letter, I'll give you a handful, and if you could give them out to friends of yours
Yes.
or people at the con, that would be awesome. I also am collecting email addresses if people want to stay on a mailing list for a grant. So I can put you in, if you're willing. I'll call that up right now, and you guys can sign
Can you
up
take
for
a
it.
picture and throw it up on Twitter? That might.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Do that too.
Are you going to take care of that for us?
I am. I'm gonna steal that. See?
Everybody put up the cards.
I put my cards away.
What?
That's okay. All right.
Here we go. Miles. All right.
Nice.
Oh, I drew king.
Oh, nice. Oh, if you tweet that at me, I will retweet you.
All right.
Yeah, ditto.
Oh, is this a
Child of the Night?
It will be. That's just that's just a study.
That's
of-
rad.
That's nice.
James Stowe, he's going to illustrate the whole book. He does an online comic called Sidekick Quests. That is, it's actually a comic that teaches kids to play role-playing games. So the mechanics are integrated included in the comic. And he just kickstarted the actual rule book, which is already available as print and play. But the actual rule book will exist as a result of that.
Nice.
He's also done a lot of work tons and tons of work for other games, but mostly different World of Darkness